Okay, well, I hope that there'll be probably still a few stragglers coming in, Deborah, but I wanted
Okay.
to respect everybody's time and get going. So welcome, everybody. I am Marilyn Wilson. I'm the president of RE Technology and the founder and CEO of Wave Group Consulting. And have had the pleasure of working with Deborah on a couple of projects over the years. She's so much fun and just amazing. And I was saying to her earlier, you'll see how much work she does, but there's very few people in our industry that have the passion and proven success in the business side of the house as well as in the industry leadership side of the house. Some people are good at one, good at the other, but very few are good at both. And so thank you, Deborah, for all that you do for the industry. We really appreciate that.
Thank you, Marilyn.
Yeah, so
Be here.
we're gonna be talking today about some of her secrets of success, and hopefully not such secrets of success. But let's just start at the beginning. Just tell me about Debra Beagle. Well, actually, I'm sorry, I didn't even officially introduce you. So much, so bad. So excited to talk to you. So Deborah is the CEO, managing broker, and co-owner of the Ashton Real Estate Group of Remax Advantage. She has a famous / infamous leader in that with Gary Ashton. I'm sure many of you have seen him. He's a character and obviously very successful. And she's also the president-elect of the Residential Real Estate Council. So she's got, again, two very big leadership roles at the same time. I'm not sure if sleeping is not pretty optional for you, but it's great. So let's just tell us a little bit about, where you come from, how you got here, and then tell us just all the great stuff about Remax Advantage, because you guys do some amazing stuff.
My story is a little unique. I'm an only child, but my mom came over from Cuba. I do like to mention this because she came over with nothing. They took her home, my family, everything from my family, and she came over to this country. And the first home that my family purchased was a huge milestone for us, and that was a possibility. So homeownership has been foundational for me in my career. And as I went to college, I got a degree in chemistry. I was an environmental consultant. I did due diligence on commercial transactions with legal and financial. So I was exposed to a lot of different aspects on the commercial side. Got my residential real estate license as a second career for myself. I was a single agent. And I'm very, again, passionate about this industry and providing opportunities at the highest level to as many people as possible. And as a single agent, one of the first things that I did, I leaned into education immediately. I was very hungry. I looked at who the best in the business and what they were doing and how they were operating. And, as the president-elect for Residential Real Estate Council, the CRS designation is truly a key part of who I am. And I mention this to everyone because it's foundational in our company, because it's not just an extra course or a designation. It's truly a business accelerator and part of who we are. When I met Gary Ashton, again, a single agent, I was doing about 11 million back in 09 and 2010 in the recession. He had a small team of 17 agents, and he was looking for someone, and I was looking for someone. I had a lot of listings, and he had 17 buyers agents, and he was looking for someone who could mentor and educate those agents. And we randomly met, and poof, when you put the brilliant mind of Gary Ashton, the visionary of lead generation back in 2011, like it was just starting, but I saw it and I said, when you power that with the education and the highest level of customer service and experience, he and I've always seen the end and the future of our industry in alignment. We come at it from two different pathways in supporting of each other. So that's how we kind of we started the team that first year. I was at 11 million. His team was at 70 million. The next year that we got together, going forward, we were at 148 million. And from there, now we're at $1 billion a year. So, and from the very beginning, we have leaned into education, providing the highest level of service. All of our agents are full-time. We don't have part-time. Everybody is about the customer experience. So that's kind of how we started and where I am today, the pathway.
So that was, let's just give ourselves a little bit of a history lesson. In 2011, we were just coming out of probably the worst real estate market we've ever had, or in many, many years. And sometimes out of necessity comes great opportunity, and it sounds like you guys grabbed onto it and made it happen. It's
It
awesome.
did. And this is where, and we'll talk about this today, but in times of strife and struggle, which back then it was very challenging and a lot of people left the industry, but what we were left with were the best. And it was the committed, the full time, and we powered through that and had huge success during bad times, which we still do COVID, we went through COVID, and then high interest rates, low interest rates, multiple offers, no inventory, now too much, back to too much inventory, with a lot of agents that haven't lived through it yet. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
So it seems like I have a million questions for you. But one
Okay.
question is, it is not easy out there right now. It is not
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure real estate's ever easy. It's just harder in different ways, but it's really hard right now for so
It's
many different reasons. What is your philosophy? What do you get up in the morning saying, how am I going to motivate my team? How am I going to work well with Gary? How am I going to get people up and excited to move forward, even though they know it's not going to be easy out there today?
and that is truly a challenge. I think as leaders in this industry, every day, we're faced with different challenges, and but the positivity of, and again, those days that you just, oh, the day is going to be such a challenge. You have to lean in again to the foundational pieces. And I know action kind of alleviates a lot of the stress and worry. So, um, doing the activities that will take the business and continue the business, gets you out of that mind, because it's your mind. You're sitting here. The market is what the market is. The challenges we're facing are the challenges. We're still out there selling, though. We're still finding solutions and finding homes for our clients, and leaning into, again, to education, consistency, and just getting up and doing. And that's hard. It is hard because these past few months, um, I keep feeling like we're ready to push through it. Interest rates have started to drop, but there's still a lot of uncertainty. The Fed adjusted the Fed rate down. Inflation still, between 2 and 3. But we have the government shutdown, and then we've got tariffs, and everybody's trying to manage through all of that. We lean into the people, the clients we're serving. And again, our agents right now are grinding. They're grinding twice as hard as they have in the past to get those deals done and help our clients close and get into get into their homes. So, a- again, it is just constant reminders to our mindset that we're going to get through this. We've gotten through everything. And I tell the story because when COVID hit in March, March 13th of 2020, which is over 5 years ago now, Nashville had a tornado that went through on the 3rd and 4th and destroyed 800 homes. We were essential services. We didn't have the opportunity. I mean, we had to find homes for people. So we powered through. We powered through multiple offers and trying to win for our clients. And it's just leaning in, again, being the very best advisor to your clients, um, and providing the highest level of service. If you really lean into that, and how do you do that? You're consistently getting educated, learning, growing, and doing those activities, which we are very systematic. I teach operational excellence, and that. So, I mean, those are, you just have to do the activities to stay successful, and you will get deals done.
So that is so much easier said than done. With someone like you, it's embedded in your DNA, and you're just like, well, I just do this. For those that are not as and I'll put myself in this category, like all of us, where none of us are as consistent as we want to be, right? We have
Right.
moments where we're good and then we slide back. Do you have any secrets or any things that you say when you, because I'm sure you're human, I'm sure you have days when
Yeah.
you would rather just go get your nails painted and not do anything for the day. What do you tell yourself? What do you lean on? Do you have a book that you love? Do you have a podcast that you love? What do you use to keep yourself in the game?
Yeah, well, I'm a voracious reader. We
Okay.
actually have, I mean, for 6 years we do a monthly book club, so we've read every book. Atomic Habits are that's one of my favorite. Grit is
Mhm.
by Angela Duckworth is one of my favorite, and and I do mention this. I mean, every morning when I get up, I'm very routine, systematic. I mean, I get up, I take the dog out, and then while he's out, I just sit there and I'm in a space of gratitude.
Mhm.
I lean into being very thankful for everything that I have and the blessings that I have. Um, you know, and you have to do that because that, again, if you do it consistently, that kind of gets you through all of the challenges
Mhm.
and things that pop up throughout the day. But I try to really lean into anything that I'm thankful for on a daily basis. So,
I love that. Yeah, there's a great, I love Atomic Habits is on the top of my
yeah.
list too. There's one concept, they call it habit stacking.
And that's my favorite, Marilyn, because
Mhm.
and I teach that. I tell everybody that if you want to
Yeah,
insert
tell
a
us.
habit, into your routines and you want to make a change, you put it in stuff that you automatically do, to get you through that. And, you know, I, I think that, that is one of that's a huge one again for agents to be consistent. And then the other thing, because I look back, we just celebrated our 10-year anniversary as a brokerage. We've been a team a lot longer, but 10 years as our brokerage. And I remember, October of 2015, we had one employee. She's now our VP of operations. And we wanted to do all of these things. And when you're a small team or you want to accomplish things, you want it now. And
Sure.
it's stacking, it's building the pieces. It is identifying the things you want to do to grow and having the patience to stay with it and
Mhm.
add the parts that will help you. For agents out there, single agents or teams, your number one position that you have got to have that keeps everything flowing is a really strong admin. You have to have someone that just helps move it forward and is the checklist, writes it down. Because if you got a lot of visionary, Gary's over here with ideas, and then I'm the integrator, and then you've got to have those key pieces and then just start adding to them. Because if you are very strategic with your growth and adding in the right pieces, your business will grow. And then the other thing, and I learned this early in my career, that where our biggest competition, people ask you, who's your biggest competition? It's ourselves. I think that's where we lay the path and then we follow that path and those that want to follow us will be there and they will follow us. Because we talk about, the CRS, we have 37 in our Nashville office. And how do we do that? How do we get people to see it's not just a course, but it's a business accelerator? We lead by example. Our mentors are all CRSs. It is part of
Sure.
our culture. So, yeah.
So you've mentioned CRS a few times. I'm sure some people know what it is, but I love that you call it a business accelerator, but kind of explain what is the CRS? What is Residential Real Estate Council? Just give us the overview of all of
The
what it is.
real estate council, we lean into it is the highest level network. And again, when you look at people in the industry that are super successful long term, they're passionate about their business at that highest level. That's the gold standard. That's what we are. That's the CRS designation. It is
Gotcha.
it's a
Okay.
state of continued learning. So, and this is where our agents, and I have three that are under the age of 30 that did hit transactions. It is one of the designation that's also tied to performance, which when you look at operational excellence and your team, you're building and putting in standards and accountability and looking for consistency. And again, with our business and our culture, we have those systems and processes in place. And if you embrace that, it's the formula and recipe for success. So, and leading, again, being partnered with Gary as a visionary in the tech space,
Mhm.
we bring in, we're utilizing all the AI out there. We've got Shiloh, which is 24/7 online coaching integrated into our CRM. We're using House Whisper, which is, virtual assistant. So, there's so many parts to it, but again, education, productivity, consistency is really wrapped into the CRS designation as in our culture. So
I love that. So I had the honor of speaking at the CRS conference a few years ago, and I got to tell you guys, if you anybody on the call that is thinking about joining this, the coaching is incredible, the training is incredible, but the
it is.
people are even more incredible. And so we'll talk about that too. The network of people that you meet. I mean, you walk in a room, and when you have 300 people that are all like Deborah, that are all highly energetic, motivated, excited, successful, it is electric. That's the only word for it. It's just so much fun because they just feed, the energy just feeds on each other. And I'm sure, as good as you are, Deborah, you still learn things from your fellow CRS
Absolutely. Absolutely.
participants, right?
Constant state of learning.
It's really fun. I would highly recommend. It was one of probably my favorite speaking engagements ever. And it wasn't because of the talk, it's because of the people. It was just fascinating. So much
Well,
fun.
and that's when you think about an organization and if you have a small team, if you're a team leader or you're a broker owner, or an agent just with two or three people with you, you set standards, you set levels of performance that are expected, and so then the consumer experience is consistent. And when you start at the small level and as you grow and grow and have it a part of your culture, and this is
Mhm.
where CRS has been a part of my business since day one. I as soon as I had my education, as soon as I had my 60 transactions, um, and again, that was one of the starting points as a single agent for me to build on our business. It was part of the foundation. So
I love that. And here's maybe another question for you too. It's again, one of the things that I love about what you do is you drive it through, right? So you
yeah,
said you have systems, you have processes, but we all have heard, I'm not a broker, but I've worked with many, right? And you
yeah,
hear, I have this great program, I'm so excited about it, and my agents just like, and
great.
they don't buy in. Like, how are you doing that in a way? Is it the people you're attracting that are attracted to the type of energy you're creating? Or like, how do you create that magic formula where it's not just the CEO saying it, it's driving all the way through the organization?
Right. Well, and so we are very selective in for the company, for our company. I mentioned we're all full-time agents. We don't bring on part-time. Everyone that joins the company, we're here to help support their personal business growth, but we have the systems and processes. We know that our organization functions better together,
Hmm.
and we're not a stepping stone team. We are a destination team. So agents that join us have our, they fit our core values. We're very innovative. So one of the things is you have to be able to pivot and adapt. We're Gary brings in stuff, so we beta test all the time. We're very solution oriented. So and what that means is you have to have initiative. So everyone that comes and joins our brokerage are we see the potential in them to fit in, and we're not the fit for everyone, but we have agents that have been with us 15 years that are highly successful in their personal business and in their team. um, you know setting others up for success. Well, what does that mean? Following systems and processes.
Yeah.
at the highest level of integrity and with a big servant giving heart. So that's our core values, and agents that we look for, we lay this and say this up front, like, hey, if you want to join us, and we are constantly learning. So if you're coming over to be with us, you're you're wanting this environment. When
Hmm.
agents join, we have 2.5 weeks of boot camp. And any agent that joins the company goes through that 110 hours of additional
Nice.
education. So not just new agents, but transfer agents, because you never stop learning. So we're stating this from the front. We're setting the expectations, and we're wanting them to, because they will be successful if they follow and join in our systems and processes. So, and we have a great CRM, and it's about consistency, and it's life changing. We had an agent, and I mentioned this at our boot camp. We started one yesterday,
Hmm.
Giorgio, who joined in March, came out of the March boot camp, life changing. He was a supervisor at a distribution facility here and got his license and joined. He's had over 11 closings since beginning of April, and he's got 4
Wow.
pending right now in this market. And he smiles,
Wow.
and he's got a wife and 2 young children at home, and he's just constant action and moving, and he just plugged in, and he doesn't know any different either. He
I
hasn't been
know, I
to
love
the other
that.
markets. So
Right.
he's just
And if he can do
embracing
well like that in this market, what's going
this.
to happen in a hot
I
market? He's
know,
going
I
to kill
know.
it.
He'll be
It's going to
excited
be
that I
amazing.
say, and he's working towards his CRS. So he's got to get the 60
That's
transactions.
amazing.
But again,
So let's talk about a little bit about, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. Sorry. Did you have a,
Yeah,
sorry.
my computer was glitching there for a minute. I'm
Sorry.
sorry. We did have a question. One, let me maybe you can answer this. Joshua wants to know, what CRM do you use in your brokerage?
So we do use Follow Up Boss.
Okay.
Gary was with the founder of Follow Up Boss, good friends. So we actually have been we were one of Follow Up Boss's first clients, and we actually helped develop it. They not develop, but they took a lot of our feedback. So that is the one that we are currently using.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, and I've heard a lot of good things from a lot of people about that one. There's a lot of good ones. In fact, if any of you are
Old
looking,
Trail, yeah,
yeah, Old Trail's
there's some.
good. If you there's
Yeah,
a CRM category on RE Technology. If you want to see all the good ones, just go check them out. They're right there. But
yeah.
um, so tell me, let's get more specific with CRS. So I love that you call it a business accelerator.
Mhm.
'Cause I think as soon as you say designation, or God forbid you say CE, it's like, wah,
Right.
wah,
Yeah,
wah.
yeah, no,
I don't want
no.
to do that. That's just some boring old thing the state's making
Yeah,
me do, or NAR's making me do, or something like that.
yeah.
But what about this makes it a business accelerator? Like, what are the kinds of tangible takeaways, and why are you so committed to it that you see differences after your folks have gone through it and
Yeah.
really learned how to accelerate their business?
Well, and since the very beginning, back in 2009, when I got my CRS, I mean, every year it's a super strong referral network,
Hmm.
because you're working with the best of the best out there that are like-minded. So if I am sending a client somewhere else in the country,
Hmm.
that's the very first thing that I'm looking for, is that they have their CRS, because I know if they are at that level, they have the experience, they have the knowledge, or if they're a member and they're working towards it, they're committed to it. So that is huge. And then again, I want to surround myself with the best. And that's, Gary and I in all the different spaces, in the tech space, in the professional space, and within our company, you hear about hotbeds, and you look at the major leagues. It's the best in the business at that level that they're surrounded by. And the CRS has been a part of my career from the very beginning. So um and you know when you there are different levels also, within our
Okay.
RC organization, of agents in the business. So there's always there are mentor possibilities. And then, I mentioned we have 3 CRSs in our office now under the age of 30 that we're expanding and opening this up to the younger generations to see the value in that this will help them boost their business. And not just in their local market, but it is a designation that they can be proud of and promote that they are at the highest level to their clients and their customers.
So you have your own selling sunset right there and right there in your business. All those top producing people that are still young and gorgeous. I love it. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, to get 60 transactions is not an easy number. Like and especially to do it when you're, less than 30 or barely 30, that's quite impressive.
yep.
So if this
Yep.
can help you do that, like I think people a lot of times are looking for the magic bullet. I think this is truly one of those magic bullets.
It is. It's an ingredient into
Mhm.
success.
Yeah.
And, you're going to have different opportunities for generating lead opportunities. You got your personal sphere, which we
Yep.
we push and encourage that. Then you have, we're partnered with realtor.com. So we have online lead options. And this is another one. I'm just going to plug this one because I think it's really great and it
Okay.
ties into anybody that's listening here. Realtor.com has local expert. And then there's your free profile on realtor.com, which a lot of agents don't even see that.
Mhm.
But local expert now is an opportunity in your market to go on realtor.com and be seen as that local expert. And it does also mention your CRS on it. So they're leaning in heavy to realtors as well. And
Mhm.
I think it's all the ingredients that you're putting into your business to be successful. You got to start somewhere, and you just have to start writing down what you do on a daily basis. And
Mhm.
and and as you start writing down, then you start reviewing and you start making sure that you have metrics that you're following, and it's that secret sauce. And then how do you leverage your time? When I had my CRS and when I met Gary that year, I did 68 transactions by myself. And the market was bad. So we weren't spending money. I didn't have an assistant. I was shooting my own photos too, because I was a semi-pro. This is like before we hired photographers, which is probably dating me. And I had 45 listings and I was killing myself. And how do you leverage your time? You have to be smart. You have to look, you've got to get the admin, which I did. And then the buyer's agents that could help do open houses and do showings. And it just was a natural progression in the business because you're going to hit that, how many deals can you do in a year by yourself? And that's when you
Right.
start looking at the pieces and parts to add in that are going to leverage that business. But you've got to write down what you do, and then you got to do what you say you're going to do, and then you got to inspect it to grow it and move it forward.
Yeah, you're just, it sounds like you're staying very engaged at the top level all the way through to the execution. And it doesn't happen by accident. People need to be managed. People need to be inspired. And if you don't do that, then you get what you get. But if
Yeah,
you're holding them accountable, but you're also living it yourself. It's not like it's a do as I do, not a do as I say,
I
right?
say, right,
There's a
right.
big difference there. So we have a question from the audience. She wants to know, and that's an interesting one. How many, do you pay for the designations for your team, or do you require them to pay for the buy-in? And do you put a timeline on like how quickly they have to get it done or anything like that?
No, we do a recognition every month. I have a slide with all the CRS designees on it. So every agent in our brokerage every month at the team meeting, they see who has their CRS designation, and then we recognize those that earn it that month. Um, so we have a celebration, that is our RRC CRS conference in Dallas, Texas. We have it every year. We had it in Nashville this year, and we
Mhm.
have it in Dallas. And the agents, I have a 50%, we have a 50% off discount code to join. So the agents get that. There are agents that are working hard, and I do as I mentioned, all of our mentors, our squad leaders, all have earned their CRS designations. And the agents that are working on them, I do reimburse for certain classes that they take for it. So I do help them. But they have to do the upfront work for it to earn it. So
Gotcha.
it
Okay,
is,
good.
but
So
yeah,
there's require some buy-in to it. Yeah. Okay.
no, they
Um,
join, they pay, and then if they are a mentor or squad leader and they step up, then we do offer additional classes and education that I do help we do reimburse for. If they're
I
serving
like that.
at the
I mean,
highest level, at a higher level within the organization as like an agent leader within the
gotcha,
organization.
but I like that you're putting people putting skin in the game,
Oh, absolutely.
right?
Yes.
If you just hand it to someone, they don't necessarily appreciate what it is or the value of it. Doug had a question, and I don't see him. He kind of bounced back out. Doug, if you want to put it in the chat, I'm happy to ask it for you of Deborah. I'm sure she'll be able to give you a great answer. Okay, so let's maybe if yeah, that's gonna is there like a moment where or have you seen something recently where you've said, wow, I could see, it's like a direct reflection of CRS that you saw someone hit a situation, had something in their tool chest that they learned from CRS, applied that thing, and voila, they had a success or they got through a challenge that they may never have been. Can you think of a specific story like that of something that's really made a difference for somebody or for yourself?
Like in a transaction?
Yeah,
You're
just
thinking
yeah.
so, well, this is an
Or
interesting
I don't
one.
know,
So
anything, yeah,
so
anything.
I have a smaller internal group of agents that work with me with my personal clients because it's I don't actually still, anyway, so I got a referral, a CRS referral out of Texas, and the client was the agent that referred it up, the client was going to buy a single family home. And so my assistant agent, she and I worked together, and we helped find the home for the client. And then all of a sudden, the client's dad says, I want to buy a commercial property. And I was like, okay. And he in the music industry, and the dad is out of Texas, big tech space or whatever, and wanted to buy a recording studio in Nashville.
Wow.
Which was super fun because but my agent, and I come from the commercial space a long time ago, but she's a CRS, she's one of our mentors and squad leaders, and I said, we can do this, let's do this, let's help it. And this is a fun one. So, and that ended up being over $3.5 million in properties between the two. And here's the difference. So the agent, Jen Barskowski, who's our CRS with us and a mentor, um, she is a voracious learner. She learned everything she could, how to get a survey done. She was over at zoning and planning, making sure everything. I mean, it's the level of service, knowledge, and activity and
Mhm.
communication to the client that she leaned in, she used the resources she had around her and had initiative to get every answer because they were coming from Texas. So Texas is a little different in regards to surveys and things like that than Tennessee. But we did everything we could for the client at the highest level of service. And partnered with another commercial agent too. So it just was a really great experience this past summer.
Mhm.
But again, it's leaning into performing at the highest level of service and finding solutions for our clients and helping them.
Yeah, one of the words you said is initiative. I think that is a lost art sometimes.
Yeah.
People are waiting for things to come to them instead of going, the best realtors are 3 steps ahead of their client. So they never hit a problem because they've already thought the worst. Like, what's the worst thing that can happen? How do I make sure it doesn't happen? Right. So that idea of you're always thinking about what's next, what's next, what's next. So they
Yeah.
don't have to. And you can bring proactive things to them. It's like, I was thinking about you last night and thought about, I know you haven't asked for this, but I thought this might be really helpful. I mean, doesn't that blow people away when you come to them with proactive ideas and suggestions?
Yeah, it does. I mean, our clients are very thankful, that we're always working and finding solutions for them. I look back over, as I mentioned, 10 years with the brokerage. I've overseen, I think, 17,500 transactions, and we've never been in court, knocking on wood on that one. And we've always got our clients to the closing table, and yeah, so just providing that service
I
at the
love
highest
that.
level.
So you mentioned that this is a tough market. I mean, I guess they're all tough in some level, but this one's particularly weird because nobody really knows what's happening with the economy. Now we have a government that's shut down. We have mortgage rates haven't really done what we hoped that they would do. There's just a lot of like uncertainty in the world, which is not good for any business, but certainly not for us. So how does CRS help you either just with the motivation of that or the actual skills to keep your head down and keep moving in a market like this that doesn't seem to be, like you said, there's really no end in sight to this so far. Hopefully we're going to see something turn, but how does it help you get through that stuff?
Yeah. Well, I want to talk a little bit on the market right now because I'm kind of I'm a data geek, so I'm watching the 10-year treasury. I'm looking at the spread between that and mortgage rates. I'm looking and watching everything in regards to the shutdown and tariffs and how that's all kind of wrapping up and integrated. And in our Nashville market, we're sitting at about 4.5 to 5 months of inventory. What's been very interesting in regards to this market compared to over the last 15, 16 years, in Nashville, there's not been really any seasonality.
Mhm.
Normally, we have every season. So we're heading into winter, and usually you'll have a spring spike, a summer spike, you'll have a late fall spike. But it's just been like this for 11 months. But there are positives in that.
Gotcha.
We're still closing about 120 deals a month. Our agents are working twice as hard to get the same amount of deals, but we're not having those spikes. So here we are, we're heading into winter. We also in August partnered with a team as a second office for us in Florida. They're in the Space Coast at the Daytona Beach area, which is interesting because they're seeing a little bit of a spike right now, but they're heading into winter, which is typical when a lot of people come down to Florida. Their
Mhm.
average price point is like 330. Ours is 540. So it's a little lower. They're seeing more cash down there. Um, but their deals are kind of going up. So but having said all of that, with the market as it is, we're still selling houses. And because we're still doing the activities and the consistent activities that require success. We lean into education. We've had numerous classes coming in and talking about divorce and probate and different things like that over the last several months, helping our clients maneuver through weird weird situations and transactions, which again is through our CRS. I bring in a CRS instructor a couple times a year to come in and
Mhm.
teach our agents specifically. So when times are tough, that's when you double down. What I mean by double down is, you know, everything that you're doing, you need to do a little bit more to get ahead. So once this market is going to improve, it's guaranteed. It's just a matter of when. It has
Mhm.
taken longer, Marilyn, than I
I
thought.
know.
I kept saying this in May, but that's the positive, the half glass full in me. But again, it is going to improve. And how do you improve? You do the activities, you continue to get the education, you look for the things, because right now Chat GPT, and Gary and I are talking, and we've talked with Victor, with Victor Lund also. We're looking at doing some different things, and I've been really wanting to go down the path of even creating our own closed tier 2 large language model, which is a Chat GPT internally within the company,
Yeah.
that would house all of our documents and our information and things like that. So we're constantly looking at where the business is going in the future and trying to be there with it. uh, people are searching for homes differently now. They're so in their chat GPTs. The chat GPT knows them, and they start looking for a house. They're going to say, I want a house with a 2-car garage with white interior and a little fenced in backyard over in this part of town. What do you got for me? And ChatGPT is going to pull some houses for you and put it in
Yes,
there. So, which is, but it's going to make we might not have to show 50 houses. It might help us narrow it down, but they're still going to need us to maneuver through the contract, through the transaction. And that's not going to go away because it's a people industry. It's a people person industry. You have to lean in to the people, and those are, my agents. Those are our members in RRC. Those are the people that we work with, out there on transactions on the other side of the transaction, and our clients. So if we focus on the people,
hmm,
the service, the consistency, the communication, and you know, the people want to see the house. They want to see how it feels to them. And I don't think that's ever going to go away. I think there's so much we can automate, but they're still going to want to physically go see it.
for
So,
sure. And speaking of the consumer, how do you leverage your commitment to education and specifically CRS when you're talking to clients? Do you tell them about why that makes you a better agent or a better team or better company?
I do, and this is where our agents, they all have resumes. They share that with their clients, and we let them know, because part of our onboarding boot camp is 110 additional hours in addition to their regular classes, and then we promote and recognize our CRS. And again, it's not just a certificate or designation. It is a business. It's the highest level of business service in the industry. And we have the transaction and the productivity behind it to boot. So, um, and that's where Gary and I mean, we promote that all across Nashville, that's part of who our business is, who we are as a business, is providing that highest level of service. And we have the production and the education to support that.
That's great.
So.
Yeah, I would think, do consumers respond when you talk about that? That, you've really invested in making sure you're doing the right thing for them?
Yeah, and where it also truly benefits is, you know, uh, real estate is, and we talked about this early, it's about the people, and the biggest purchase of their lives, and it is, there's a high level of emotion involved in that, and Murphy's Law, things, there will be glitches, there's government shutdowns we're having to deal with. But the consumer can know that because we value education and solutions, USDA is shut down right now. We have alternative financing that we can get for them. We
Hmm.
have solutions that can still, that's 100% financing option. We
Hmm.
have that. Um, the flood insurance program, there's no new policies. We do have a year policy through our insurance partner that we could still close and provide flood insurance for a consumer with us. We're looking for solutions, and we tell our clients this. This is, we're just involved at the highest level in our industry to find solutions to counter anything that we're having to deal with right now.
I love that. Okay, so why don't we, I think you have a couple of slides if you want to show us, because I think it'd be
Yes.
great for people to know all about what's coming
Yes.
within CRS,
So,
how they can get involved with it, because there's a lot of different things. So if
yeah,
you want to go ahead and put those up on the screen, Deborah,
I
I think you
think
have them,
you
or
got them. I think we got them. Can we throw them up there? I
Michael,
think,
can you throw them up?
yeah. And
Yep,
so
we've got it.
as he's pulling that up, I'll talk about, so this past March, our conference, our RRC conference, celebration, it's called Celebration. We have top speakers and classes, and it's great networking. I mean, if you come to Celebration, you're going to walk away with referrals. So again, it's a business accelerator. Celebration will be at the Fairmont Hotel in Dallas, Texas, March 19th through 21. And again,
Okay.
are you leaning into being the very best? Do you want to be around the very best in the business? This is the event to come to, because these are producers. It's not just you're going to be around people. This is a very strategic business decision to come to Celebration in Dallas and be around the very best in this country, and then make those connections, those human connections, to get referrals, get the learning, and listen to the speakers that are going to accelerate your business. Again, March 19th through 21st, 2026 in Dallas, Texas. And then I'm going to challenge anybody on here who doesn't have their CRS yet. If we go to the next slide, we have a great fast track process to getting your CRS designation. This is great if you've already got your 60 transactions. You don't have to have them yet, but you can commit to the path and earning it. And this one, it's $499. We have the QR code on your screen, or you can go to crs.com/fast track. And again, that $499, that gets you your 16 hours of online coursework. So you don't have to go sit in a class, you can do it online. The $99 application fee, 50% off your first year membership, 30% off of the celebration in Dallas, Texas. And you can do either the luxury certification or your choice of the AI certification. Both are great. And again, it's a $800 value for $499. So it's a great option. And again, just the QR code, or go to crs.com/fast
Yeah,
2T.
that seems like yeah, there can't be a better time or way to invest in CRS than this program that you have right
Right.
here. It gets you
Yep.
so much, and it lets you do it online.
Yep.
You know,
And you
a
don't
lot of
have the
times,
16 hours. Yep. And
right?
again, this is a commitment to your business and growing your business, and being around those that are like-minded. Mhm.
And are the classes live online, or are they
No,
pre-recorded
they're
online?
self-paced. They're
Oh,
self-paced.
perfect.
So
Okay,
you
so
can
you
do
can
them.
do it
Yeah.
put the kids to bed and do this at 9 o'clock.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. And have it before the end of the year, your Christmas present to yourself. So, and yeah, so Marilyn, I am so glad that you had me on here. And again, for those that are listening in today, you know, if it seems like an uphill climb right now, and the mountain seems very high, um, just focus on the activities. Write down those things. That's where it starts. You've got to write down what you want to accomplish, and then you just start doing the activities to chew through that. But again, if you are in a business mode right now where you're managing your business and you're needing to scale and grow, areas that we're leaning into right now, because we do have licensed inside sales agents too, that are our front lines within our company, that are taking the calls, and our agents are doing their constant follow up with their clients and touching them and updating them, because interest rates are down. I mean, we've got some, just it's like a 6.04. And if get 2 points given, sellers are willing to give concessions right now. So,
Mhm.
negotiating for your client to get that rate down to where they can afford the home, sellers are willing to do that. They're willing to pay closing costs. They're willing to pay for a home warranty. They're willing to give the concessions to buy down the rate. And like I said, that's a couple $100 savings a month when you buy down the interest rate on a
Mhm.
$550,000 purchase. So, but I think we
Yeah.
can, so we can take or you got the slide. There we go. And any other questions for me, Marilyn?
No, I think that this was great. I guess just closing words, if I'm a person that's, a little scared, a little uncomfortable, not doing as much business as I would like, just give me your final word. If, you're now the broker for everyone on the industry, everyone on the call. What's your advice to them?
Um, and I posted on my Facebook page today too about, working through times like this. And, you know, sometimes it's good to reset and just sit down again, look at where the business is, and then really reach out to all your clients and talk to them, educate them about
Mhm.
opportunities right now, because buyers have choices. They have a lot of choices. We're heading into Thanksgiving. A lot of people tend to do Christmas cards. I like to do Thanksgiving cards or Thanksgiving. We do a pumpkin pie giveaway to all our clients.
Fun.
We get them from Costco, $6, the big pumpkin pies, and we call all our clients. And we're actually we partner with Speculo. They're actually going to send out to all 17 to all of our past clients, and we let them know, hey, we are thankful for you. We're grateful for you as a client, and would you like a pumpkin pie? So
I love
we are
that.
doing it all. We're tech forward, and we're still leaning into the relationships. And I think action helps with the challenges, because I've talked to a lot of our agents over the last couple of weeks, and everybody's business is just a little bit flat and slow, or like you said, some are struggling. And you lean into the education, you lean into reaching out to those clients, so as soon as they're ready to make the move, you're engaged and you're ready to go. We don't take our foot off the gas in Q3 and Q4, in fall and winter. We power through, so we set ourselves up for success in the winter months. And I'm hopeful we're going to get the government shutdown worked out here soon. And
Hmm.
and then the interest rates, we should be under 6. That the spread between the 10-year treasury and the interest rates are over 2, and it needs, normal is 1.6 to 1.8. So we should be under
Yeah,
6. So I'm still being positive and hopeful.
I love that. Well, thank you so much. This was great. In case you didn't hear Deborah, CRS is one of the things that makes her as successful as she is. And not only CRS, but the philosophy of continual reinvention and continual reinvestment in yourself.
Hmm.
So CRS is a great one. That 499 deal is a really good way to, kind of finish the year, kick off the year, get yourself thinking in a different way. And if you do all that now, to your point, consistency, you do it in the down times, when the up times come, you're going to be 10 times higher than those that didn't do anything in those little bit softer times.
And
So
our
do it.
class library is all complementary, again, to performing at the highest level. There are so many additional classes in there. We have our webinars monthly. So there it's making the commitment to be surrounded by the best continued education and business growth. That helps mindset when you know you're around producers and those that don't take their foot off the gas. That gives you energy and the ability to move forward. So those that are out there watching this, it's a decision that you make for your business, for who you are, and how you provide service to your clients. And you never stop learning, because this business changes every day. And I
Exactly.
probably sound like I'm preaching, but I
No,
am.
but I
I
love
mean,
it.
it
I
is,
love
it
it.
is, it's foundational, and you
It
have
sure
to
is. It's
into.
great. And, this is a weird one, but it just kind of struck me. When you have this consistency and this commitment to other people and have the sort of servant mindset that you have, and you have children, guess what? They learn how to do it too. And you don't even have to teach it to them. They just watch you do it. And eventually
Yeah,
you have another generation of those who can take over your business. So it's perfect.
right. And my husband and I are very, very blessed, because our kids are hard workers. Our son, he's 26, and he's working so hard. And I said to my husband the other night, I said, well, he gets it on us, that's for sure, because he's like a mix of the two of us. And yeah, he's very focused on his business right now. So
I
uh,
love it.
It is,
All
it
right.
is
Well,
fun.
you have a wonderful holiday if we don't see you before, and a happy Thanksgiving to everyone on the call. And go get that CRS. I'm telling you, if Deborah can
Yeah,
do it, you can do it. You'll be just like her if you get in there and stay consistent. And Atomic Habits is another one I would highly recommend you read
highly
that
recommend.
too.
I've read
It's
that book so many times.
it's
Yeah,
a gotta
that's a
have
great
for
one.
sure.
And thank you
Oh,
everyone for being on here, and thank you, Marilyn, for having me. And go get your CRS and come to Celebration in Dallas in March
that's
to be
right. We'll
around the
be
very
there.
best. Okay,
Okay. Thanks,
thank you.
everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.